Welcome to the Fight with Teddy Atlas, presented by Dynamic Striking. I'm Ken Rideout, joined as always by the new voice of MMA and today's very special guest, candidate for Coach of the Year, Eugene Bareman, and the Nigerian Ninja, the last style bender, Israel Adesanya. What's up, fellas?
Hey guys, good to see you again.
Hey, it's good to have you guys with us. It really is. And congratulations, first of all, to both of you, Eugene and Israel, on the last fight with the victory in the rematch with Vettori. I'll get right to it. For me, it just looked like you were back to being you. I don't know what else to say. You were loose, instinctive, creative. To me, that's what you are. You're that guy. And listen, I'm in no way, I think I respect all fighters. I would never, ever take anything away from the fight before that with Blachowicz. A whole different animal, a whole different situation, a bigger guy moving up, doing something that very few people would even try to do. But for me, even before that fight, Israel and Eugene, I don't know, tell me if I'm crazy, but I looked at you just didn't look you. And again, listen, all the credit to Blachowicz. I have a lot of respect for him. He's not just a big guy. He's not just a strong guy. He's technically solid, and he's a smart guy. And he's probably a lot smarter and more technical than most people will ever realize, unless they understand the sport better or unless they've been in the ring with him, that he does the right things in there. But having said all of that, I just didn't feel like it was Israel. And, and again, he had something to do with it, but it just looked like you were off. And I know that you have too much pride, too much professionalism, too much respect to ever make an excuse. And I'm not doing that. But just talk to me. Tell me, am I crazy or something or what? But the last fight, it looked like you were back to having fun.
Yeah, definitely. It was fun. That was a key word. I actually had fun in the cage right up to the very end. Even when he was hammer fisting my thigh, I was just playing around.
That's always fun. It's always fun to have someone hammer fisting your thigh. When I don't have anything else to do on the weekend, I always say, I wish I had somebody to thunder fist my thigh.
Never say that on the internet.
Be a lot of fun.
I think it's an interesting question though, Teddy. I actually never even asked Israel that myself. Like, did he feel? Were you different before the Yan fight? Did you feel the difference now that you can look back at both those two fights?
I'd say it definitely made a difference that I went over earlier this time, as suggested by my pops. Because one thing he said in the press conference from the Yan fight, he said, your eyes didn't look right, like from the press conference. I was like, what do you mean? He said, no, you didn't have your bright eyes. And I was like, oh, okay. So he kind of suggested that I should go over earlier this time. So I did. And again, like you said, Teddy, I wouldn't say this because I know you guys won't do this, but other MMA media outlets might try and use this. It's like, oh, Adesanya says excuse,
never,
for Yan fight finally. I know you guys wouldn't do that.
That's why I qualified it by saying that.
Yeah, I know you guys wouldn't do it. I know you guys wouldn't do it, but other media outlets will watch this and then try and use clickbait. So fucking warning you.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point.
Not you guys, not you guys. Them. They know who they are. They know who they are.
No, nobody's using us for clickbait. Believe me. Otherwise, I'm not nearly as good as you. But I'll be coming out of retirement too.
No, but I feel like going over earlier this time was a big step for us because, man, the heat in Arizona, I'm telling you, it's no joke. Even if you live in California, the Arizona heat, a desert heat is different. So
completely different places.
Yeah, definitely. And working out there the week before, I could feel the oxygen in my, like, going through your nose. It kind of pierces your senses, like, while you're breathing. So you have to get used to that. And if you get in there fight week and you're trying to get used to that, I feel sorry for you. And like you said, just having fun. There was a bit in that fight, I don't know if it ever got caught on camera, but one of my coaches, Twister, saw me in the third round. I think either heading into the fourth, and he doesn't come to the ring. He sits by the cage, and he just yelled out, "Izzy, don't get bored, don't get bored." And I was like, "Oh yeah, true," because I was already winning the fight. I knew I was up, but he looked at me and said, "Don't get bored, don't get bored." And I'm glad he did, because it kind of fired me back up. Like, oh yeah, I am. Even my wrestling coach, what's his name, Andre, said in the Paulo Costa fight, similar thing, like, stay sharp. And yeah, I feel like that was key in this fight. I didn't get frustrated, and I was having fun.
I'm gonna, to the point that you just brought up with Eugene earlier about that Eugene said that your eyes, there was something. I'm telling you, call me crazy, but I already said this before Eugene said a word, that I didn't think. I just thought you weren't you. There was something missing. And if I used one word, and again, call me crazy, but I would say sleepy. You almost look sleepy to me. I'm just telling you.
That's what my dad said. That's why he said I didn't have my bright eyes. And again, credit, I'd say Jan also fought us smarter than he's fought anyone else. He didn't fight us the way he normally fought other people, with reckless abandonment.
He better not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He took us seriously, and he did give us the credit at the end of the fight, saying, "Man, he packs that thing on them." So yeah, that was definitely a factor. Some people, even from the UFC broadcast team, said we won that fight, and I've had to be like, yeah, it was close, but in my humble opinion, I would give the fight to Jan if I was judging. I would give it. He beat us just.
That's an honest man. That's an honest fighter.
Yeah, but I mean, that's how we try to be. We try to be objective. That's how we get better.
No, that's how. Listen, you don't get better in anything in life by lying to yourself. That
Facts.
much I know. That much I know. And the other thing that I want to say, going in now to the Vettori fight, you and Eugene, you had a great fight plan. Now listen, again, it was loose, you were instinctive, because you're an instinctive guy. You got to be you. You got to be loose. You remind me, see, Cus D'Amato used to say to me, "Teddy, the really special ones make it up as they do it." And I was like, "Yeah, Cus? Yeah, the real special, you got to teach them the basic realm of what they're doing and give them the right direction, give them the right rules, the right laws of the land, the right technique, and stay within the parameters. But the real special ones, they can go outside those realms, and they can kind of create it as they do it. Like a Jimi Hendrix with a guitar, or a Louis Armstrong with a horn. They just hit notes out of nowhere. They feel it, they create it. To me, that's you. That's kind of you. You're within your realm that Eugene gets you, but then you have the special ability to go outside that realm, to kind of make it up as you do it, to just feel it and do it. And for me, with your athleticism, to be at your best, and I saw it in the last fight with Vettori, you need a little space. Yeah, and I love the way you spaced yourself. That Eugene, you had it where you had enough space where he's damned if he do, damned if he don't. And what I mean by that is that if he stands there, bang, you're going to close the gap on him. You're going to beat him to the mark. If he comes in, bang, you're going to counter him. If he goes backwards, bang, you're going to go with him. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. You were working on all 8 cylinders, and you were Izzy. You were at your best, where you had that space, just enough to create room where if he comes in, you counter him. He stands there, like I said, you're quick enough to get to the mark before he can time you. A little bit like a young Pacquiao. Pacquiao used to be that way, where he could close that gap. Whack! 0 to 60 like a sports car, and get to you before you could even get off the mark. But anyway, am I on target a little bit with the game plan and the way you felt and with the spacing?
Yeah, well, I mean, our coaching style, me and my team, is we give these guys the basic framework. We give them the framework, but we allow for them to work off that framework with their specialness, with their own creativity. And at the end of the day, coaching is it's a two-way thing. Some of the people don't realize that, but it's what I see and what he feels and sees. And that 1 minute that we come together, it's not just about me imposing what I see. It's about us both coming together as quickly as we can and as concisely as we can, and then going out there with the next plan for the next round. It's a collaborative effort between both of us and the team. So yeah, that room for creativity that you talked about earlier is so important, because a lot of coaches don't allow that. They restrict it, and they restrict it too much. And so that's an important part of what we work on. And then yeah, our game plan, as you know, like Israel's, it's all about that, the distance. It's all about what happens between A and B. It's the space between A and B and what we do with it, how we create it and how we close it. And it's something we work tirelessly on the gym, whether it's making space or closing space. At the end of the day, I think that's the art of the whole sport, is that little distance between A and B is the whole sport.
Listen, you're just verifying what I felt I was seeing, and it wasn't an accident. That you had that space this time where you could do your thing.
I'll add two things to what he said. He even in the back before, while we were warming up, I did something and I almost caught our wrestling coach Andre while he shot in, and I was just like, "Ooh, I'm dialed in." And I just said to Eugene or something like, "Yeah, just when you see he's about to shoot, I'll feel it. But when you see he's about to shoot, just let me know." And then Eugene said, "Yeah, but you'll feel it first, so you just go off what you feel." And he did. It was just a passing comment, but that reassured me, like, yeah, like he trusts my instincts, he trusts my judgment. I was like, yeah, I know, but just also you'll know when he's about to shoot. And I'd say the second thing is, yeah, Vettori was damned if he did, like you said, and damned if he didn't. So he almost, well, better than Romero, he actually tried to fight, but he wasn't trying to win, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah, like Kelvin Gastelum tried to win the fight. I mean, that's the blueprint. If you want to fight, you got to try and beat me. You don't just try and survive. That's the blueprint. And, look what happened to Kelvin Gastelum. First round, he got me. Second round, you might get me. But guess what? You're trying to win. That leaves you open. And, yeah, we can get you too.
Yeah, listen, it's true. We say in boxing, when I'm doing a broadcast on boxing, I always say the hardest thing to do is to get rid of a guy who isn't really trying to win. Because if he's trying to survive...
all defense. He was like so defensive in that fight. And that's why I think I got bored. And Twist had to be like, hey, Israel, stay focused. Don't get bored. Because
there was another part to it. The other part to it, one other part that you did a heck of a job with. When you're on, and you are on, obviously, and you're doing what I just talked about, what Eugene verified, what you verified, it's very frustrating for an opponent. And that, to me, is part of it, is part of your strength, is that you will naturally frustrate somebody when you're on. Because, like we just said, damned if you do, damned if you don't. The guy tries to get in, bang! The guy stands there, bang! So the guy goes backwards, bang, bang. So, it's a very frustrating thing to be in there with a guy like you when you're hitting on all cylinders. And I think it showed. Because I think that he got frustrated, that he got really frustrated. And I was going to ask you, and I know what the answer is probably, but I wanted to ask you and get it out of your mouth. were you aware of that you were frustrating him? And did you help him kind of push him down that cliff a little bit by talking to him? Because that's it. I said it.
I did. I did. There was a bit where I reversed his rear naked choke. He had a rear naked choke on me at one point in the third round, I believe. And I felt like that was his moment in his eyes, like, yes, finally got him down. Yes, I finally got the back. I got the hooks in. Finally, this is it. I'm about to be world champion. And in my head the whole time, I was like, man, because of all the work, the breath work I've been doing with this guy, David Wood in New Zealand. In my last lockdown after the Jan fight, Kai told me how when he was in a rear naked choke, he was completely relaxed. He didn't panic, and he was in a deeper one than me twice. And he said that was attributed to the breath work. So I've been working with this guy. And then when I was in the same position, my heart didn't skip a beat. My heart didn't skip a beat. I was just like, all right, bet, watch this. And I spun him around, and I will never forget the look in his eyes. I've said this at the post-fight press conference, but I'll never forget the look in his eyes. And he just looked petrified. And I grabbed him by the throat, and I looked at him for about 2 seconds, and I said, you're scared, aren't you? And I tried to throw an elbow off that frame, but it just missed. That was the moment I felt like he lost the fight, that he just didn't want to be there anymore. And Eugene and my other coaches actually pulled me back a lot, because I think from the fourth and fifth round they saw like, okay, I could see he was ready to go, but I guess maybe Eugene had PTSD from the last fight and didn't want me to put my foot too much on the pedal. So there was a bit again. I think I swept him off the cage, and I was there in his guard, and then I looked up, and they were like, "Get your ass back on the." I was like, "Oh yeah, sure," and I backed off, and then kept on going to work. But I felt like I really wanted to just display my grappling a little bit more. I wanted to really put this guy away, because after that moment, he was ready to go. But we'll just. I guess my coaches pulled me back a bit, pulled the reins a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, before I give it to Ken for the next question, I just wanted to follow up on that, where I talked about how you kept space and how obvious it was to me that you wanted to keep space so you could do your thing, either counter or get off before the other guy. But I also obviously was noticing just how darn good you were at either avoiding his shoots to get you to the mat, his shoots for your legs, or escaping, dealing with it on the floor and escaping. I mean, you were tremendous at that. I mean, really tremendous at it. It was a big part of it, because let's face it, the only way he was going to win wasn't going to be striking. It was going to be down on the mat. That was the only chance he was going to be able to win. And again, you were just magnificent at either avoiding the shoots to get there or getting back to your feet once you were there. And obviously you've been working like heck to do that.
Yeah, we've worked tirelessly on that. And that also starts from the footwork. And like Eugene said earlier, the distance management. But also our wrestling coach, Andre, we've just drilled this shit till it's boring. So I was able to get off the fence easy. Some of the stuff me and Eugene and the rest of the team work at 10 a.m. We're able to execute on the ground. And yeah, I look forward to being there again, to being on the mat again. And this time I might not listen to my corner as much.
We walk a thin line, and maybe in retrospect, I probably did have a little bit of memory from the last fight about being taken down in those last 2 rounds. So I probably pulled him back a little bit in retrospect, but that's what I'm there for, Sometimes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm on your side, Eugene. I'm with you. I'm with you, Eugene.
I'm crazy.
Sometimes we take the W, and
you're crazy like a fox. He's crazy like a fox, but I'm still with you, Eugene.
Yeah, sometimes it's necessary, and let's. I know Israel probably could have poured a bit more pressure on in those last 2 rounds, but sometimes we just need to get home and be safe. Get home and be safe, and recollect ourselves. For the next one, we can take a bit more risk.
Yes.
Yep. Go get him. In other words, next, go get him. Go do it. Go ahead.
Hey guys, quick pause to give a shout out to today's sponsor, MyBookie. Check them out at mybookie.ag. Use the promo code ATLAS, ATLAS, for a 50% credit on your first deposit. Big fight coming up this weekend at UFC 264. We've got Conor McGregor -110 versus Dustin Poirier -120. Pretty much even money here. And the over-under, 1.5 rounds, over -170, under +140. Some really interesting lines here. Check it out, mybookie.ag. Use the promo code ATLAS, ATLAS, for a 50% credit on your first deposit. Good luck. I want to give you a quick compliment, Izzy, and just say that when you were describing how you reversed the rear naked and grabbed him by his throat and said, "Aren't you scared?" It reminds me of, I don't know if you ever watch ice hockey, like that antagonistic player, like a guy named Sean Avery who played for the Rangers. He is the last person you want to play against, but the first guy you want on your team, because you're like, that guy will die for this team. But when you're playing against him, he'll kill you for his own team. And that's what you remind me of. And the other thing is, you guys seem to have so much fun together. When I think about MMA teams, like this, one of the first teams I think of is City Kickboxing. Maybe because you guys are so far away, but it just seems like such a tight-knit family. And I want to give you guys a chance to speak about a horrible incident with Fao Vaca and talk to me about Fao and what he meant to you guys. And I know you mentioned him on the broadcast, but I want to make sure that the guy gets his due here. And I'm very sorry for your loss. And tell us about him.
Yeah, well, let me talk a little bit about his talent. Like, he was essentially a guy with 5 or 6 amateur fights. And for some of Israel's fights, he's been amongst a myriad of high-level fighters. I'll put him in as Israel's chief sparring partner. That's how talented he was. And you'll hear Israel say, there's been many a round that if Israel's not on, then that round went to this kid. And this kid hadn't had a professional fight yet. So, I mean, his destiny, at least in our eyes, was pretty clear. He was eventually going to make it to the upper echelons of the sport. We as a team had no doubt about that. It was just about developing him to that place. Just super talented guy, and not just a talented guy, but just a really good human being. A dad with a young daughter and a wife, and it's sad but true, and a little bit of an overused statement nowadays. But somehow, life always gets the good ones. I don't know how that is, but that is. Can really be true in this particular instance. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys got a chance to speak about him a little bit, and I'm glad Izzy gave him a shout out. A terrible incident, and
well, again, I just want to say that Israel, first of all, thank you for just for being that kind of human being. That your loyalty and your respect for your friend, that you took the time, you did it in a proper way, in a heartfelt way, and you spoke the truth. You spoke the truth about something, and somebody needs to speak the truth, because something like that should never happen. Should never happen. And it's cowards, that it's cowards that do that stuff. And there's a small pocket of society that unfortunately might look at it in a way where they're doing something in a tough way, where it's the antithesis of that, where it's the most cowardly thing you can do in the world, to go up behind somebody when they have no chance to defend themselves. And it's happening in different parts of the world, and it's got to be stopped, and somebody needs to speak to it. And I just wanted to thank you, really, for at your moment, you had your moment, you won, but yet you thought about somebody else, and you thought about saying something that was important to say. I just want to tell
Yeah,
you thank you.
even Brad did that. Brad, my other teammate, who had a beautiful fight on the night as well. Beautiful performance, fight of the night. He walked out to Foe's entrance music, which was the song from his dad's village, and he got permission from the family to do that. He after the fight also spoke to it. So I feel like even on we have a private group chat right now that we're trying to make moves on, especially for this country, New Zealand, and the laws governing this kind of shit. Because Australia is far ahead. The boxer Danny Green, I'm sure you know who he is. He campaigned against the coward punch over there, put his foot on their neck. You know, even I remember when he was doing it, we were getting the likes of that as well in New Zealand. I remember the you know when it was happening, and he got the laws changed. I think you get 20 years for something like that now. We're talking in our group chat of different incidents that get even looked over when it comes to, and I hate the word they say over here in Australia and New Zealand. They sometimes they call it the king hit, and I keep saying there's nothing high and mighty about that. Like it's a coward, bottom feeder thing to do. So. Yeah, I just wish our government now would, you know, take a look at this and realize it's not just for us. Like it's better for everyone because this shit happens every weekend, believe it or not. And some people just walk it off. I managed to walk away from it in 2012 with my life, and Fo didn't. So, and a few others haven't. There's, you know.
The reality in our part of the world, unfortunately, I hate to say it, and I don't want to go on too much about it, but these guys will get a couple of years.
It's horrible.
They ended our friend's life, and they've created
It's
a
horrible.
widow and a child without a father, and in 2 more years they'll be sitting in McDonald's, you know, having a laugh and doing whatever they do, and we're about to start a campaign as a team to get harsher treatment for this punishment and get this crime, you know, get this crime to where it should be in terms of the punishment for doing it. That's what we're about.
Murder.
They should be in jail for life. For life. I mean, really.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's for life. And it's the most cowardly thing you could do. And the only thing more appalling is that somebody dies. But right next to that, what is almost just as appalling is what Izzy just touched on. That somebody and some segment of people in this world would actually think that to call it a king hit, that would actually think that that's something to feel brave about or to feel accomplished about. That it's incomprehensible. It shouldn't be comprehensible today.
Yeah, and Danny Green did a tremendous job in Australia campaigning to get that word and that saying changed to a coward punch, which is aptly suited. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
in our
Perfect.
part of the
Thank
world,
goodness.
that's kind of become the predominant language now around that sort of crime, which is, I mean, all credit to Danny Green. Like he's a good dude.
Well, good credit to all of you. Credit to all of you.
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to speak a little bit about your teammate. But Izzy, let's get back to fighting now. What's next for you? Who are you going to get? Is it Bobby Knuckles?
Yeah, I'm putting the knuckles back on old Bobby. So, yeah, even one of my guys from my YouTube channel sent me a clip of him calling me a shit person. Just recently, I don't look for these things; they get sent to me by my people, and I can see it again. It's already happening again. It's already happening again, except he's a bit more, he's lost his cool. He talked about saying he lost his cool in the last fight. Nah, it's too late. He's lost his cool now. In the last fight leading up to it, he was trying to pretend like everything was all right. And you can verbatim find the interviews when I was saying he's not handling this well, but he had a suit on, he had his people around him. He's in his home country, and he just looked like the prim, proper poster boy for his moment. And I was saying up leading to the week, I was like, man, he's not himself. He's taking shots at me. He's making memes about me, and he's trying to act like, oh, I'm the crazy one. Everyone was saying, oh my God, Robert's so in his head. Look how angry Izzy was getting. I was saying, look, he's not himself. He can't handle the moment. This is pressure. 57,127 people in that arena that night. And I could see that pressure was on him when we were in the cage. I could feel it. I felt like a cobra, and I could just feel like he was just feeling that pressure. Marvin felt that as well this weekend. He felt that pressure. I made him crack at the press conference. That was the best thing. And he stood up and I didn't even move an inch. And I just sat there laughing at him because I didn't feel threatened. I was like, he's not going to do shit.
You definitely made him mad.
Yeah, I made him crack. It was fun. That was a fun little energy game we were playing. I wanted to see if I could make him crack because he's same thing. He came in there looking cool with his 3-piece on. And yeah, I was just like, bitch, I got my fucking flower shirt. I'm chilling, got my shades on, and I made him hot under that suit. So yeah, that was fun. And I'm gonna do that again this time. I feel like I've already kind of achieved that with Robert. So yeah, we're ready. We're already things are on the way.
Israel, you do that stuff obviously on purpose. And
sometimes well, if it's working, I will dig a knife in there.
Yeah, I think so. And you have the instincts to do it. The mentality, obviously the temperament and personality, but there's just the instincts, the innate intelligence, if you will, to understand that if you can get to somebody that way, it can help you. It can be if somebody allows themselves to be vulnerable in that way.
Yeah.
You can help yourself. And the guy that comes to mind, and I want to ask you if you got a little bit of it from him, the guy that comes to mind that did it so well was Muhammad Ali. I mean, oh my goodness.
It was crazy.
What he did to Sonny Liston, what he did to Joe Frazier. I mean, these were great fighters. I mean, Sonny Liston doesn't get enough credit for being a great fighter. He was a great fighter and a great puncher. And Ali beat him before the fight started. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, from my recollection, I wasn't around those days, but from the stories and what I've watched, Ali was tormenting him pretty much to even the point at the press conference. I think Sonny was like petitioning to get him removed from the building or have him examined or evaluated. Things like that for me. I like to say I'm emotionally intelligent than most people in my situation, because Marvin is not emotionally clued up at all. He has no clue about his emotions and how easy it is to rile them up, because I see the way he acts when the cameras are on. Like the week off, when I first saw him, I walked right up to him and I shook his hand again. Why? Because I felt no threat. I knew he wasn't going to sucker punch me. I knew he wasn't going to do anything out of character because there was no cameras or shit. But then when the cameras are on, then he wants to flex and act a part or play a role. So yeah, Ali was someone who definitely picked some stuff from Prince Nassim, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather. These are in boxing some of the GOATs when it comes to pre-fight warfare. But man, everything's fair in love and war.
Yeah, I mean, good for you. To the great ones, they will pick stuff from other great ones. They will take stuff and add it to their arsenal. Put it in their basket is what I like to say, and have it, for the proper time and the proper time to use it. So I just needed to ask you that, because Ali really was the GOAT when it came to that stuff. I mean, he's the guy that first really brought people's attention to being able to break somebody down mentally before the fight even started. I always talk about, Eugene, I'm sure you do too, I always talk about with the fighters that for me, 75% of boxing is mental. How much would you guys put into your sport of it being mental?
Yep, I mean, shit, I think we put a little bit more on, like give or take. It's such a hard sport. It's such a hard living. It's such a hard way.
Oh yeah.
It's such a hard way for a young man to make an existence. And it's a hardship that's hard for a lot of everyday people that are in other lifestyles and other walks of life to understand. But that's where it all comes from. Like at the end of the day, like you have to take every little percentage you can get. And I'm not like, I wasn't the greatest advocate of the mental warfare before a fight. Personally, for me personally, I just showed up and fought. There was nothing. It was very meat and potatoes. I showed up, I fought, I went home. But I've seen firsthand through studying this long history of boxing and MMA that there's merit in getting into someone's head. Ali obviously was one of the greatest at it. And I've seen Izzy do it firsthand to people. I've seen Izzy throw people off their game. So I'm okay with it. I'm an advocate of it. But I will say this. You can do a lot of things before a fight, but you have to be true to yourself and you have to be true to your values. And I've always said that to the guys. I said, do what you have to do, but stay within yourself as a human being and stick to your values. Don't overstep lines. And that happens a lot in the sport too. A lot of things go to places where I think they never should go, outside the realm of the sport. But I think Izzy does a good job of sticking to his values, even though we're in warfare. He sticks to those values that he's true to. Yeah.
There's three things I won't go to. There's families, partners, or like something maybe someone's going through deep rooted that you might have a hint about. And like this, because we're all here in this game trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to, make a better future for ourselves. So this is work, if you will. Doesn't feel like it all the time, but yeah. So I feel like keep them, especially kids. I feel leave kids out of it, and family. So it's only ever happened once. I won't repeat it. But when someone went low, like I said, don't test me because I can limbo, and I can get dirty. I can get dirty if I have to. So I try and keep my hands clean. I can sleep at night with the things I've said. But yeah, this is just a warning shot, if you will.
100% agree with you and the way that you approach it, both of you, because what you just said basically is, at the end of the day, no matter what, you have to have your own integrity. You have to have character. You have to have integrity as a human being. And that's on you. That's not on him. That's on you. And at the end of the day, when you get in that ring, this might sound funny to some people, but you have to like yourself. You have to like who that person is getting in the ring. And you have to trust that person. That's the power. For me, that's the power. And if you don't like yourself and you don't trust that person, it's going to show up one day. So, go ahead, Ken. You have something, I'm sure.
Yeah, one of the things that you just mentioned is it's a business. And right before we came on today, I just saw a tweet from Ariel Hawani that they're making Derek Lewis versus Cyril Gane on August 7th for the interim heavyweight title. Now, Francis couldn't go on the 7th. I'm just getting bits and pieces of it literally just before we go on. Francis couldn't go on August 7th. And I don't know that, I'm speculating. I don't know that he has the best relationship with management, but there has to be some tension there for them to go 3 months after he won the belt. We're making this fight. I think they needed a big fight for August 7th is what I'm picking up from Twitter. Now, again, I'm just getting this from Ariel on Twitter. Ariel's usually pretty good. But, man, what a slap in the face that would be to make an interim title fight 3 months after Francis won the fight. They couldn't get John to agree to terms. Now, I don't know if it's John or Francis, but sounds like the negotiations were tense, and they're going to give an interim title to Derek Lewis versus Cyril Gane.
Interesting. Well, at least they didn't strip him of the belt. But yeah, because Francis is in Vegas right now. He just returned from the Congo, so I don't see why there would be a need for an interim belt. Maybe they've got something else in the works. You never know. These guys are crazy. I love the UFC brass. They operate different out there in the desert, so they might have something else in the works with Francis that they have to keep hush hush. Who knows? By the way, I like your background, by the way, Ken. Looking good. Good choice.
Thank you, man. I think I told you before, my daughter, who's 10 years old, is adopted. She's from Ethiopia, and I told her you were coming on today, and she's like, oh, that's my favorite guy. She's at swimming, otherwise she would have insisted to come in and say hello.
I would love to say what's up. If you're ever at the fights or anything, bring her through. I'd love to say what's up and sign those posters as well.
Yeah. We'll be at the McGregor Poirier fight supporting our man Dustin Poirier. Awesome. Yeah. I'd love to get to New Zealand at some point.
Yeah. Once you get out of this quarantine, maybe, because we're still in our mandatory 2-week quarantine.
We'll come down and test drive some of those cars I see you flexing on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely.
Good for you, man. I love seeing those posts and seeing you enjoying your life. That's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? We're just trying to do the best we can, and I love seeing people get to enjoy the fruits of their labor.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, sometimes it's just they see the glitz and glam now. They see us with the belt. They see us with living nice. But yeah, there's a lot of work. And I like the way actually my dad broke it down the best. This is when I was younger and not listening to him. He said, this is when I was, So my dad tried to teach me when I came back from China, he tried to teach me how to save money. And I was like, Pops, ain't nobody got time for investing in houses and owning all that shit. I'm 24. Let me enjoy myself. And I go broke. And I was like, fuck. And then when I got in the UFC, he, wanted to teach me how to invest properly. And I said, you know what? I didn't listen to this man before and I went broke like 2 times over. I should probably just listen to this man now. And yeah, I'm glad I have because, everything is good on that side. But damn, I lost my trail of thought.
Speaking of that, one thing I wanted to ask you before I turn it back to Teddy is what sponsors are you working with outside of the ring? Because to me, you're a very marketable guy, and I always give the fighters an opportunity to shout out their sponsors and the people that are helping them be in this position. So, who you working with?
Oh, definitely Engage Fightwear. We've been with them since day dot, pretty much. My guy Ash Belcastro, you'll see him in the cage. The old gray little tubby guy.
I'm sure he's going to appreciate that description.
Oh yeah. Everyone loves to be all gray and tubby.
So he's been the guy that's been believing in us, from the jump, and believe in what we're doing, and likewise we did the same with him. He's been a big supporter, I don't know if I can say this now, but he was close to being. We were close to being. Maybe it wouldn't have been Venom fight kits. You would have been saying, but I'm glad that we've put ourselves, or he's put himself in this platform that he's able to I guess, help a lot of other people as well. Apart from them, I've got My Protein as well. He's their supplement sponsor from the UK, but they're shipping worldwide, and I love their products. I love the business relationship I have with them. I've also got
Puma.
I was saying Puma, of course. Come on, can't forget it.
I was waiting for you to say Puma. I'm giving you every opportunity. I'm like, come on, dude, you can remember Puma.
The big ones, yeah, definitely can't forget about the big dogs, Puma. I mean, that sometimes I still don't reflect on that enough. Like, damn, I'm a guy that's sponsored by Puma and the first MMA athlete ever. I don't really bask in that enough. But
you and Usain Bolt.
yeah, in those echelons, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle,
Yep.
Selena Gomez, J. Cole, a lot of these other like names, yeah, I love the fact that of the big four, they're the ones who looked at me and looked at how I am. Sometimes, I'm very, very open with the way I express myself, no matter how weird it gets. And they were just like, we like that guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we want to work with him. I respect that. New ones like Stake.com and a few other Killcliff. Oh yes, can't forget about Killcliff. And wait till you see what we drop when we get the Tequila Kiwi on the markets. I've had a taste of that now. We created a drink, a flavor that's unique to my essence, my story, my brand, and also Killcliff. The team is so awesome. We went after the Vettori fight. We were in Phoenix, and one of their backers owns a racetrack, and they took us on the track, and just pretty much we just had a blast on the track with all these fast cars, and then went back to the pad, and just it was a good day. By the time it was done, it was like 4 p.m. We all went to bed tuckered and just like napped because it was just adrenaline filled day from 7 a.m. to like 3 p.m. And yeah, I love this position we're in. We have a lot of people to work with. I look forward to working with people in the future, but they have to know who they getting into business to. That's the thing. I advise these guys.
That's
who
right.
you getting into business to, and yeah, let's make some money together.
The reason I like to ask that is, I don't know if you saw it, but Dustin Poirier was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and Joe Rogan was having a go at him because he had a Samsung phone. And Dustin said, no, I ride or die with Samsung. He got off the show. Samsung called him up and gave him a huge sponsorship. I don't want to talk about his business,
really?
but it was
wow.
like,
That's dope.
wow, that was crazy. And now he's like Samsung for life. The earbuds, he's got everything Samsung. So anyway, awesome. I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about some of your sponsors. Teddy, I know you got something.
No, first of all, just listening to you talking about your dad and the advice that he gives you, it reminds you of one of those, one of the old stories that somebody said, it's amazing how as I get older, my father gets so much smarter.
Definitely. So he's a smart man. There's things that he said to me that in retrospect I'm like, damn. Even as a kid, you kind of listen and you're like, yep, I should have listened to him. And like in this game, you look at guys like, not even in this game, in sports in general. Guys like great ones, okay, Michael Jordan, Khabib, rest in peace to Mr. Nurmagomedov. Some of these guys had their dads in their corner, on the field or on the track or whatever. But for me, he's not. Now he studies the game. He actually like sometimes gives me comprehensive game plans, and I compare them to what we already have, and I'm like, it's common sense. The guy, from watching, he still watches football, soccer, as you guys call it, but like he watches all the UFC cards from the prelims to the main event, every fight night, every pay-per-view, and he'll watch any middleweight fight and then just note them down. Like, all right, we don't have to worry about this guy. We don't have to. Oh, we might have to worry about this guy. Note them down. And yeah, it's good. It's good to have that. Like have him in our corner. He was even at the fights this time. He's in quarantine at the moment with us. Came over for 3-4 days, and now he's quarantining for 2 weeks. That's dedication.
Yeah, it is. That's loyalty, dedication, commitment. That's family.
That's family.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I want to ask you and Eugene, what is your feeling on what's going on out there now with these, whatever you want to call them, these money grabbers, these events, YouTubers fighting fighters, older fighters, YouTubers fighting MMA guys like one of the Paul brothers fighting Ben Askren. Yeah. Now they're talking about a fight coming up with, we're going to fight Woodley.
Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, Tyron Woodley. What's your feeling about these events?
I'll go first. Let me go first, EJ.
We got a hot one. We got a hot one.
First of all, you have to know about boxing.
Got a hot one
Yes, you
here.
know about boxing.
Hey, you don't know shit
Yes, you
about
know
boxing.
about boxing.
You don't know shit
Yes,
about
you know
boxing.
about boxing.
Hey, Roger
Young
Mayweather say you don't
Israel.
know shit about boxing.
He knows about fighting. Israel, he knows about fighting. That's all that matters. Go
I just love
ahead,
giving him
Eugene.
shit. I love
Go
giving him
right
shit.
ahead, Eugene.
So you old guys got to stick together.
Boxing's my favorite sport, so that's probably my first love. It's the first combat sport I ever watched, and I'm probably what you call a purist, and I've never watched. To this day, I have not watched Mayweather and McGregor, and I am so in touch with the journey that fighters take. And some of them come from nothing. There's guys in my gym that come from nothing. And there's guys that never get anything out of the sport their whole life, only self-satisfaction. They don't make a single dollar. And that's what I'm in love with. And those are the stories that I've studied when you look at boxing history. And this new phenomenon, it just doesn't resonate with me. And I can't watch these guys that are yes, they're bringing attention to the sport, but they haven't taken the journey that people that are very personal to me have taken, and the journey that most of the greats have taken throughout history. They just haven't done it. They've done it a different way, and it just doesn't resonate with me. So I don't have anything to do with it. I won't watch it. I won't support it. I will watch the people that come from the bottom to the top. That's my take.
Understood, and well said for the way that you feel and the way that you stand.
But it's good for the business. It's good for the sport.
Yeah, of course. Listen,
good for the sport. I
they
understand
can make
that
money.
part of
It's go make money, but and it's people's choices whether or not they buy it. But I understand your feelings. I understand it very much. What's your feeling, Israel?
Yeah, even for me, it still perplexes me how he has never watched the Mayweather McGregor fight, because I mean we've seen it and it was a competitive fight. It was a good fight. You see, but I understand why he doesn't watch it because of the reason he said, and I respect that 100%. But it's black. It's not just black and white for me. There's a huge gray area. Like if two people wanna fight and people want to watch it and there's heaps of money to be made, sure, let them make money. And at first I wasn't a fan of some of it, but then I think it was when I met Jake Paul and I think I watched the him versus Nate Robinson. That fight I was not a fan of. I knew what was going to happen in that fight. I was kind of like, this seems like a mismatch. Even the new one, there was Lamar Odom versus Aaron Carter. That who sanctioned that? That's 7-foot guy, 7-foot black guy versus this scrawny little white dude that weighed probably like 145. And I'm just like, who sanctioned that? What was the weight class for that fight? What was the weight class?
Yeah, and they had on like full helmets.
Yeah, headgear. Like it was crazy. And yeah, it just looked like it was just like, this should not have happened. But credit to them. Hey, someone wanted to see it and someone paid money to watch it. It wasn't me. But the recent one, this was a Logan versus Mayweather. That one, I wasn't really frothing over it at all. I was kind of like, oh, that's happening. Why is that happening? Okay. And then it got to like the weigh-in day. Then I was just like, shit, this is actually happening. And it was just the spectacle of it. Just the spectacle of it. Like, what the fuck is it? And then like the fight day, like we're about to watch the fight. So I'm like, this is actually happening. But also, any chance I get to watch Floyd Mayweather move around in the square circle, or I'll watch a Mayweather fight just because I love his style. I love the way he moves in that ring. He's one of the best of all time. And yeah, it's just, that what if is always there, and it's silly, but it's always there. And you look at the fight, Logan Paul survived. He didn't get finished, even though Mayweather from like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th was trying to put him away. But I was entertained. That's one thing I'd say. I was entertained. and I hope they both got rich off that. Because that, and also for me, man, I've said this now. I'm gonna finish with this. I keep saying you won't catch me back in the boxing ring because I've done that. It's for me, it's like it's easy, but like you see all these people now unretiring, and you're just like, man, no one's put $100 million across my table yet for boxing fights.
For $100 million, I'll get in there and let the other guy use a knife.
I'm like, but for me, same with Eugene. I'm like, I don't want to sell my soul, my code, because I'm like, if you want to fight, respect. First of all, respect the Clarissa Shields. I want to say she has more heart than all the top boxers, male or female, in the game right now. I want to say cojones, but she got the ovaries of doom, man. Because honestly, to humble yourself and say, I mean, I know someone else who's done that. This guy, like, to humble yourself and be like, I want to just learn. I want to learn the game of fighting, and she puts herself in the fire, humbled herself, and came to MMA to learn. And in her first fight, she succeeded after going through adversity. That's a fucking champ right there. So I want to give her a shout. I feel like she's not being held enough for this, because a lot of these guys are like, let's fight. Tyson Fury. Oh, I'll fuck you up, Francis Ngannou, but we'll just use our hands. It's like, that's what are we doing? This is fighting. If you want to fucking fight, let's fucking fight. Like, and I feel like even a guy like Tyson Fury might be one of the only guys that's crazy enough. He is a gypsy to do what Clarissa Shields has done, to follow her lead, if you will, So big shout out to Clarissa Shields, because fuck, that takes a lot of cojones, and she got them bigger than all these fucking men out here in boxing these days. So yeah, I mean, for me, my code is martial arts. I humbled myself as well to get to this point, so no man can ever have me in any situation on the ground, against the fence, on the feet. I wanted to make sure I can protect myself in any situation. So that's why I humbled myself and learned MMA. And if anyone wants that smoke, I feel like they can do it on this side. But then again, no one's put 100,000 million fucking gajillion dollars in front of my table to box some motherfuckers. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see in a few years.
To your point about Clarissa, I saw that fight, her first match. Obviously, she's tremendous striking. Nobody is going to beat her striking. But she really, really proved herself on the mat. I mean, she was close to being submitted. She would not give in. And she showed the resolve, the character, the toughness, the determination of a real champion in that situation. Yes. She would not give in, and she wound up turning it around. And as you said, she wound up winning that fight. She went through fire to win it, and you have to have respect for her to see what she did in her debut. Really, it was impressive. Again,
the men in boxing need to take a page from her book and actually grow some balls if they want to fight. Like I'm like almost like Eugene. I have my own code where I'm like, why are we pretending this is full expression of fighting? It's a very limited expression of fighting. Same with kickboxing. That's what I was, primarily a kickboxer. It's a very limited expression of fighting. And this is martial arts. Arts is about expression. And I want to express to the full potential of my ability. And if someone is telling me, no, you can't do that, you can only express with these tools, I feel like that's not staying true to myself. So that's why I'm like, nah, you never see me dance in the squared circle for 100 million. But then again, no one's ever done that and put that across my table. But I feel like I can make that money in the UFC as well. That's one thing I feel like with what we're doing, we can make that legacy and make that money in the UFC. But yeah, everyone take a page from Clarissa Shields' book, because she's the GOAT and you guys are still limited. So
yeah, she showed plenty of, as I said already, fortitude and heart and character to come and win that fight when she was in a very difficult situation. And as you said, not only a difficult situation, but a new situation, a foreign situation for her, and she did it. It was pretty impressive. There's no doubt at all about that. Ken, you have something else?
No, I was just going to say I want to be sensitive to your time. I know it's middle of the week over there in New Zealand. I don't even know what time
we
it
got
is.
time today, Ken. We're not going anywhere.
Oh, you're still
Yeah,
quarantined?
we're in quarantine.
We've got 2 more days in quarantine.
2 more days.
Oh, good. Well, when you get your first NFT, let me know and we'll put it up here on the digital screens during the show, and we can we'll run the auction for you.
I've got the Oculus Rift, so I'm going to be making some art at some point. And
All right.
yeah, I'm just learning the skills, if you will, learning.
All right. Well, let us know. We'll display it up here for you so everyone in the fight game can see it.
Let me ask you, Eugene, you talked about boxing and, of course, Israel. Who's your favorite fighter right now, boxer, for both of you right now, as today?
Yeah, I'm enjoying watching the Monster, Nui, at the moment.
Oh, in a way, the Japanese, yeah.
It's
He's tremendous.
just, man, it's always amazing when a small package delivers so much.
He's tremendous. You know what? I'm not surprised you love him too, because Eugene, as a coach, you have to admire how he's always balanced. He's never out of position.
Always in position, and that's like good. That's all built off good boxing fundamentals. It's not built off all the hairy-fairy extras that are on the edge. And a special
100%.
talent. Like, it's just amazing to watch.
And he never wastes anything. Nothing is wasted. Nothing. I mean, I could see you really liking him. How about you, Israel? Who's your favorite right now?
Favorite boxer right now, I have to say still Lomachenko.
He was tremendous the other night. Oh my goodness!
The other night that was beautiful. I also liked the Davis fight. That was
tremendous.
A good comeback. But Loma right now would be my favorite, just because still the way he operates, the way he trains, the way he and his dad work together and his team, and yeah, I like their story. And he's still in boxing. He's the Matrix, and the fight before that was Victor. Can't remember his name now. Shit, the one he lost where were you watching that?
Lopez. Lopez,
yeah. And you watching that scene what's happening? You're not sure, and then he's losing rounds. Like, he still fought through adversity, even though it was later on to get back there. But yeah, I just look forward to seeing that fight. And also, even in boxing right now, there's so many fights I'd like to see. Loma, Javonta, the Mexican guy's name, Garcia, and Lopez as well. All there's there's no one's making those fights. That's one thing I'm not really happy with boxing right now.
Don't get Teddy started.
Don't get us going.
Don't get Teddy started.
Oh man.
Oh my
Let
goodness.
him know, Teddy.
Oh no. Oh, forget it.
Yeah,
forget
they're not making that. Even though I think wasn't meant to be AJ versus Tyson Fury, and then that's not happening now.
It's why the UFC is special. It's one advantage UFC has over boxing.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, it's also why when the UFC can't get a fight made with their current heavyweight champ, they're like, okay, we can't come to terms. Here's an interim title. See ya.
Boom.
This is there is nothing nice going on. This is business.
Yeah, well, they make every one of you guys are in tough fights. Every one of you guys are in real fights all the time. And in boxing, not all the time at all, not nearly enough, unfortunately. And it's a shame because it hurts the sport and it hurts the fans that they're not going to see the best fights. Tank Davis and Lomachenko would be unbelievable fight. You're never going to see it. You're never going to see it. That should be the
next fight.
You're never going to see it, Israel. 100% Israel.
That's sad. That's denying the true, pugilists like yourselves, like Eugene. It's denying you guys, what I feel like it's owed to the world almost, but again, this is the corruption of boxing that's happening. Yes, it should be something that's like, we want to see who the best fighter is, the best boxer is, if you will. So, yeah, sad.
100%.
Sad state of affairs.
And it's funny you mentioned Lomachenko, because Lomachenko, when they asked him after his fight about a rematch with Lopez, and they mentioned something about money, and he said he was incredulous, like, money? What are you talking? I'm fighting for legacy. I have enough money. I'm not doing this for money. Whereas other guys, when they asked Leonard Ellerby about Tank fighting Garcia or Josh Taylor, he's like, well, what's Josh Taylor bring to the table? Like, we're trying to build a star. We're not looking for necessarily the best fights. And I was like, what? Tank Davis could probably do really well there.
You're missing the point.
Exactly.
If you follow legacy, the money will come. That's how I felt. I mean, even doing this game, I never chased money. You know, me and Eugene never chased money. We like back in the day, fucking, can I please borrow $500? Eugene will give me the money. And I'd pay him back like 2 months later. He'd be like, what's this for? I'm like, you borrowed me $500 2 months ago. He's like, oh, he'd forget about it. And he wasn't the richest man at the time either, but he was able to help me when I was on the skins of my ass cheeks, you know. But yeah, now
you're driving a McLaren
comfortably. Yeah, now we're both living comfortably, you know, looking after our families, and we're still raking it up. This 2-week quarantine is only a little price to pay to make a few bags. So yeah, I'm glad we can set up for our future doing this shit.
Thank God. And listen, I'm glad that I'm speaking to not just two talented people and, you know, a talented coach and obviously a tremendously talented fighter, but just to two good people, two good human beings. I'm thankful for that. And
thanks for that, Teddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Teddy. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, it's our pleasure, man. We love your energy, the attitude, the team mentality. We talk about that amongst ourselves here. Is like, it's nice to be part of a team at some point in your life where you feel like you have people with you that are dependable, and you know, like you said, he gives you $500 and probably never even expects it back. It's just nice to have people like that in your life, and it's very evident.
He reminded me of a story, because this guy, whenever anything gets sent to the gym and it has my name on it, he has the audacity, because it's his gym, to think he can open my fucking mail. It's just fucking rude. So I get back from fucking God knows what I was doing, and I think I had a PS5 sent to me for something I did, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. And then he dashed me up like it's his. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. But then this was a free PS5, but they reminded me of a story. Apparently that I bought him a PS4 years ago, and I was like, what? He's like, yeah, because apparently he came to watch this fight with me. He came to corner me in China. I can't remember. You tell him the story. Like, he came to corner me.
We were in China, and somehow he must have got the story that I really wanted to buy my son a PlayStation with the money that he was going to pay me for the fight. Anyway, we got absolutely ripped off that fight, and we didn't make the money we were meant to. So then when we get back to New Zealand, he's got no money, I've got no money, but he walks into the gym with a PlayStation. And I'm like, you can't, like, what is this? Like, for a start, you can't afford this. What is this for? And he said, this is the gift for your son. And I'm getting emotional talking about it now, but you know, I never forgot that. He had
stuff, you made me cry as well.
He had no money. He had no money. I ended up, I'd made him take it back and get his money back, but that's not the point. Like, it's just, this is why I believe in my team, and I have so many good people in my team. And my team, to me and to us, if we had no champions, no UFC fighters, no boxing fighters fighting Joseph Parker, it doesn't, like, we would still have the best team in the world. It's because of the people inside the team. Without all the trophies and accolades, really a good team is made up of the people in it. And if you have a good bunch of good people, then what's true about us is good things will happen.
Yeah,
100%. And people caring about people, it's nothing better and nothing stronger. People caring about other people.
Yeah,
that's
for me. It just I forgot about that completely. So I only brought that up because, like, I was really taken aback that he remembered that story, and then I was like, oh yeah, true. I think I did remember doing that. But then he wouldn't fucking give me the PS5 though, because that was free. So he's like, I'll do that to my kids. I was like, yeah. Because I already had one. I already had a PS5 at home. So that was an extra one. I was like, oh, yeah, of course it's for the kids. So I didn't mind. But I was glad to remember that story. And he told me that because I was like, damn, I would have forgot about that completely.
When you guys think about those stories, do you ever sit around the gym or wherever you're at and think like, man, remember when we didn't have money for a PS5 and now look at us?
100%.
PS4 and now we got the belt and we're like here and it's like we just got all we have is ourselves to thank. We did this as a team.
Not all the time together, but like I have my moments when I step back and I'm just like, when was the last time I did that? There was I think maybe the last time I did that was walking backstage this fight with the team because my dad was there, my brother was there, and my team was all around me. And I saw Brad, dapped him up, and then I kind of like had the moment like, fuck, we did it again. All right. And this one wasn't as sweet, but like still, I was just grateful to be with my team and my people. Yeah. I'm sure he has his moments as well.
I think for me, like, man, I'm blessed because what I want to do with my life, I'm doing. And I'm training people full time, and I've got all these tremendous athletes, and every day I go into the gym. That's not work to me. That's living the dream, and so I don't need anything. But one thing that I reflect on is I at the start of this I didn't think I could provide for my family with this sport. We just had nothing, and I just wasn't. It used to upset me that I probably was looking at having to give this away to provide for my family, as a man should do. But as it turns out, we put our head down and we worked hard. And now, even though I don't need anything, what makes me so happy is that I can make my family comfortable, which I was never able to do in this sport. And that's what really I reflect on and makes me tremendously happy.
I wouldn't say much else about what he does, but like there's more than just his family. He helps a lot of people that, I don't want to say because then they'll know that he's helping, but they don't even know he's helped them. So I'll give this man credit where it's due. Like he helps a lot of people even when they don't know he's helping them. And I find that very, that's
That's what I love about you guys. It's like very obvious that you're sincere, like Teddy said, good people, and it's been an honor and a privilege to speak with you now a couple of times. You're officially friends of the show, and eventually we're gonna get some cool swag made up that would even pass the Style Bender's style test.
Maybe one day we'll do it live. I think later on.
Hell yeah!
Later on we'll do it live one day. Yeah, meet in person.
Definitely.
That'll be awesome.
That would be great.
For sure.
That would be great. You guys take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and stay blessed and stay the beautiful people that you are.
Thanks, Teddy. Thanks, Ken.
Likewise. Thank you, Teddy. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks,
appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Easy.
Take care.
All right. See you.
Thank you, man.